Hello, welcome to CGT, and this is our special coverage of China's space mission live from Beijing. I'm Pan Deng. China's Shenzhou 19 crew is heading back to Earth today. Taikonauts Cai Shuzhe, Song Lingdong, and Wang Haze have completed all planned tasks after a 6-month stay on China's Tiangong space station. The spacecraft will later land at the Dongfeng site in northern China's Inner Mongolia Autonomous Region. The Shenzhou 19 spaceship was launched from the Jiuquan Satellite Launch Center on October the 30th, 2024. Now for the latest, let's cross live to our reporter Li Shuang, following this very closely from the Beijing Aerospace Control and Command Center. Li Shuang, bring us up to date.
Well, hello, Pan Deng. Well, the most dramatic scenes of the Shenzhou 19 crew's return are set to unfold out on the plains at the Dongfeng landing site in Inner Mongolia. Here at Beijing Aerospace Control Center, the brain and nervous system of China's space program, engineers are working quietly but intensely to bring the taikonauts safely home. You can think of this place like air traffic control, but for space. From the moment the Shenzhou 19 capsule begins its journey back to Earth, this place tracks its every move, sending real-time commands and ensuring that every stage of that re-entry happens precisely as planned. From separating from the space station to braking, free flight, re-entering the Earth's atmosphere, and finally parachuting down to Earth. It's a carefully choreographed process that takes about 50 minutes from start to finish, and nothing is left to chance. As we can see, right now, we're about to witness the separation of the orbital module that will leave the return capsule to head back to the Earth. Now we can see that the control center is sending out real-time commands. And as we know that the landing of the Shenzhou 19 crew was originally scheduled for the 29th and got postponed for a day due to high winds out at the Dongfeng landing site. That postponement, though unexpected, was a powerful reminder that in spaceflight, safety comes first. And following that unique scenario, mission planners quickly adjusted course, and now conditions have stabilized. And right now, we learned that the Shenzhou 19 capsule has successfully undocked from the Tiangong space station, and for the first time is heading for a landing in the eastern zone of the Dongfeng landing site. Right now, here at the Beijing Aerospace Control Center, all systems are green and ready for a safe return. Back to you, Pan Deng.
Thank you very much, our reporter Li Shuang at Beijing Aerospace Command and Control Center. And as we're continuing this special coverage, we're watching live footage right from out of the atmosphere. You can see that 3 Chinese taikonauts are in the return capsule so far. They have completed several key steps on their way back to Earth. So first, they've adjusted its altitude, and the orbital module has separated from the re-entry capsule, and then the capsule has finished a second adjustment of its altitude. Now this is on your left hand of the screen, our live footage from the capsule, a return capsule, and on your right side of the screen, you can see that's kind of a simulation of their returning process. And for more insight, we're joined in the studio by Professor Yang Yuguan and Associate Professor Zhang Fan. Thank you very much for joining us, gentlemen. So, as I understand, they finished at least 3 key steps on their way home, right, Professor Yang?
Yes, exactly. So, from the previous video, we can see that although, as you mentioned, it is a 3D animation, but it represents the real-time status of the spaceship. So, at this moment, we have conducting the deorbit burn. which means that we will deaccelerate for a remarkable amount of energy so that the trajectory of the Shenzhou spaceship turn from a Earth orbit to the trajectory which can dive into the atmosphere. So with this very important measure, we can return to the Earth with the help of the aerodynamic forces, which can reduce the speed of the Shenzhou spaceship, and then we can conduct the deployment of the parachute, and then we will back to the Earth.
As we just reported about 5 minutes ago, the capsule has finished actually at least 2 adjustments of its altitude. Why
Exactly.
this is so necessary?
So you know that our Shenzhou spaceship have the 3-module design. So the first step will be the separation of the orbital module, as your colleague already mentioned in the Beijing Flight Control Center. So this is to reduce the total mass of the spaceship. But you know that to avoid any collision, we must separate in a different direction. So that is why we conduct the first attitude maneuver for about 90 degrees in the your direction. And then, you know, that for the deacceleration, we must use the main engine on the propulsion module, like we've seen in the 3D animation now. So this needs another attitude maneuver to change the direction to the right one. And then, as we have already seen from this video, that according to the commander on the ground, the de-orbit maneuver has already been successfully conducted. And now, at this right moment, the Shenzhou spaceship is in the trajectory back to the Earth.
So, talking about the re-entry, Professor Zhang, how challenging is this? Because we've talked about this for at least a dozen times, but every time we need to ask how challenging is this for the very stage of re-entry?
Right, so soon there will be a separation between the service module and the re-entry module.
And sorry, professors, we are seeing actually live footage. This is the Dongfeng landing site, right?
Oh, it looks pretty good. I was expecting more wind and sand, actually.
Oh, the weather. You think the weather is relatively favorable, at least today, right?
Right. Yesterday, the threshold is 15 meters per second. Yesterday, they were expecting it to be above that threshold, and today the forecast is still 10 to 12 meters per second. And now it looks like it's not that bad. So the wind would be a major challenge, coming back to your question.
Right.
Because there was a parachute stage.
Yeah.
And if the wind blows, then you can imagine it's like a pendulum underneath a parachute. And if it swings too much, it might go up and the parachute stop working properly. And that would be the major problem.
Right. And Professor Yang, you're no stranger to this massive landing site in Mongolia, because you're right from that region.
Yes.
Tell us more about the, as Professor just mentioned, sky looks fair, clear, right?
Exactly, it's much better than yesterday. So we can see the on social media the video yesterday. There do have strong wind and also sandstorm yesterday. You cannot see very clear even 100 meters away. So it is the right choice, I believe, according to the formal announcement of China Manned Space Agency. We postponed the landing from yesterday to today, but they do not have much influence or impact to the whole landing procedure. You know that, as you mentioned, I am a native of Inner Mongolia. The landing site is located very close to the Jiuquan Satellite Launch Center, just in Alashan, and also, actually speaking, in the Gejina Banner.
Right.
So the landing site, the total area is more than 13,000 square kilometers. So it's
and talking about this landing, sorry to interrupt you right there, we can also see that live footage from the Tiangong Space Station.
Yes.
The Shenzhou 20 crew
is watching the live coverage of CMG.
Yeah, exactly. And they're watching their colleagues going home, right? Quite a big moment for them too, right? Because, of course, they want a safe and smooth return of their colleagues.
Yeah, exactly. So you can see that on the left of the screen is a video stream from the camera mounted in the re-entry capsule inside the cabin. So we can see that the 3 astronauts of the Shenzhou 19 crew is sitting in their seats, and also the commander Cai Shizhe is reading the menu.
Right.
So they are very calm, and I believe that at this moment they are still very comfortable because still in the microgravity environment. And on the right, as you mentioned, the Shenzhou 20 crew is watching the live coverage of China Media Group, and it is very interesting, you know, that during the landing before, actually speaking, during the landing of the Shenzhou 15 crew, the Shenzhou 16 is watching the live coverage, and your colleague anchor in the studio of CMG say hello to Mr. Jing Haipeng, the commander, and he can respond. So it's very interesting.
Actually, they got a real-time response, right?
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
Yes.
Almost a real time, right? Because there will be some
maybe
latency.
several seconds delay.
Yeah.
But you look at this video. So this is a camera mounted on the propulsion module of the Shenzhou spaceship. At this moment, still we can get the radio because you know that on the propulsion module we have a high gain antenna which can send the wideband video stream from the Shenzhou spaceship to the Tianlian data relay satellite. The definition is very high today, so it is very clear. Also, there are multiple video streams like the one on the left and those on the right. Not only we can see the video inside the cabin, but also have the one on the from the camera mounted outside. So you can see that they are still the Shenzhou spaceship in the sunshine area. So you can see that it is very bright.
And I believe it's fair to say and quite evident that monitoring during the whole process is of great importance to the success of the whole landing mission. But we do have this knowledge of going through this so-called blackout zone. So, since as the name entails, I believe no monitoring is available during that stage?
It just means they can't send out information. It's roughly because the spacecraft is going through air really fast. It's pushing air and heating it up, so the air becomes ionized. So electromagnetic waves can't pass through because they will transfer their energy onto the charged particles. The charged particle field waves. That means they can't broadcast, their health conditions. They can't send out, Beidou location information, that sort of thing. But you can still see them. And after Shenzhou 12, the ability of the ground crew to just use visual and other means to triangulate where they are is good enough that you really don't need them to tell you much. It's really nervous for us, not knowing what's happening there. Not so much a technical necessity.
Oh, right.
Well, from the voice, we can hear the commander announce the first prediction of the landing location. Usually the whole landing procedure from the just we witness of the deorbiting maneuver, we need usually 4 to 5 times to have the predict of the location of the landing site. Because you know that although we have a theoretical landing point, but that's only a theoretical one. So it was influenced by all kinds of disturbance, either from the error of the engines, also from the aerodynamic forces. So just along the trail of the Shenzhou spaceship, we need the ground stations, we need the data relay satellite, and also we need the inertial measurement unit inside the cabin to measure the trajectory. And also with this prediction, we can help the ground team, the rescue team, to get to the real landing point with the fastest speed. So this is very necessary.
Yeah, talking about ground team, actually we're watching live footage from the ground team, right? Yeah, we got a higher bird's view. I believe the ground team is on their way to the projected landing site right now.
So according to the announcement of the team yesterday, this time is a little bit different from the previous ones.
Right. So now let's get more on the Shenzhou 19 mission first, gentlemen. And China's Shenzhou 19 manned spacecraft and has left the China space station this morning, Wednesday morning, and is expected to return to Earth very soon. Crew members Cai Shuzhe, Song Lingdong, and Wang Haoze will touch down at the Dongfeng landing site in northern China's Inner Mongolia Autonomous Region. During their 6-month mission, the Shenzhou 19 crew completed many tasks. They handed over work to the Shenzhou 20 crew, which arrived to the space station last week. And as we can just watch the live footage, the 3 taikonauts, the Shenzhou 20 taikonauts, are also watching live footage of their colleagues' way home. And the return of the Shenzhou 19 was originally scheduled for Tuesday, but was postponed due to unfavorable windy weather. Authorities elaborated on the change of plan.
Just as we establish minimum conditions for our launch missions, we also set minimum conditions for the return missions. Typically, our return system requires that the average wind speed does not exceed 50 meters per second. If this threshold is exceeded, we must initiate contingency plans.
Meanwhile, the Dongfeng landing site in the Mongolia Autonomous Region is all ready to welcome the Shenzhou 19 crew home. A final comprehensive drill was conducted at the site. The Shenzhou 19 crew has completed all its planned tasks in space. New equipment is in place in the landing site to assist with the Shenzhou 19's return.
We have new equipment. The 5 helicopters participating in this mission are all high-power models suitable for plateau operations, with overall performance superior to previous mission vehicles. Moreover, we have comprehensively updated the Beidou equipment installed on our air unit helicopters and ground unit search vehicles, upgrading all terminals to Beta 3, which provides higher precision positioning and timing services for air and ground units, presenting more accurate and real-time situations to our command center. We have also added a laser weather radar system around the landing site, greatly improving the accuracy of landing point forecasts.
The synchronization requirements between the landing point of the re-entry capsule and the search and rescue forces are relatively high for the return mission. We implemented data persistence management to achieve precise traceability of the mission data. At the Dongfeng landing site, which features complex terrain, we synchronized the presentation of the mission situation, assisting the command center in understanding the search and rescue progress and providing guidance information to the rescue teams to ensure a smooth mission.
Now you're watching live footage from right outside the return capsule of Shenzhou 19 spacecraft. 3 Chinese taikonauts are on their way home, and they all belong to the Shenzhou 19 mission. And professors, I think as the 3 taikonauts are on their way home, it's perfect timing to take a look back at the whole Shenzhou 19 mission. As an astronomer, Professor Zhang, what are some of the scientific and technological experiments, tasks you paid most attention to this time?
Right, there hasn't been any specific astronomy things going up, but in the future there will be something called the Chinese Space Station telescope that will go up and fly in the same orbit, and occasionally come in and dock with the Tiangong station and get repairs, upgrades, and replenishment of fuel. So that's something I'm really looking forward to. And each time, because you can't really go into the telescope. It's filled. It's solid. So the astronauts will have to do the maintenance by doing spacewalk. And this time they did a spacewalk lasting 9 hours. I believe that's a world record or something. They had to repair a stuck payload adapter from earlier sort of payload-only missions, in and out cargo transfers, and then they did a wonderful job, and they managed to stay out there and working in perfect conditions for 9 hours, and that experience built up the relaxing of the envelope of how long you can stay up there. Right. Will become really useful when you are handling a complicated machinery as complicated as a space telescope. So that I had been really nice to see. Right, and Professor Yang, still focusing on this 9-hour-long spacewalk conducted by the Shenzhou 19 crew. Explain to our global viewers, how significant is this?
As Professor Zhang has already mentioned, it's a world record. That's one amazing thing is that, that the designed time for one single EVA is 8 hours. But how can we conduct a 9-hour EVA? This is because that for any space activities, either for the design of a EVA spacesuit or for a spacecraft, we must have a design margin. So to ensure the safety and ensure the success, this is very necessary. With this margin, we can have the right resources to stay longer in outer space. That although it is the designed life for one single one is 8 hours, but with this margin today, because the technology is already very practical, so we can ensure the safety of our astronaut even for 9 hours. The interesting thing is that, that this is a very important success for us in the future, that if we conduct more challenging tasks outside the cabin, if we make something difficult, and that there are many uncertainties during a very complex EVA. So to dealing with this EVA, you may work longer than expected. So with this margin and with this attempt to work longer in outer space, it is really meaningful for us to facing these challenges and facing these uncertainties in the future. So it's not only a world record, but also very practical in the future. Moreover, you see that one more thing amazing is that, that the design, the lifespan for one the second generation 15 spacesuit is 15 times within 3 years. But you know that today we've used one of our 15 spacesuit for 17 times. Even 17 times, it's still in a very good status. So this shows that it proved that the design and also the manufacturing, testing, and maintenance of our second generation 15 spacesuit is very, very good. And also it has the experience very helpful for future lunar mission. You know that our lunar missions use the Wangyu EVA spacesuit. So it is also have the right experience and knowledge we get to have a better development of the Wangyu EVA spacesuit.
And talking about the outstanding work of the 3 taikonauts of Shenzhou 19, Professor Zhang, what worth mentioning is that Wang Haoze, taikonaut Wang Haoze, she's a female, and she's at first, I believe, flight engineer to go up to the China Space Station. How significant is it? And tell us more about the responsibility of a flight engineer up there in space.
Right, so there are 3 types of astronauts. One is the pilot. Usually the commander will be a pilot. In the past few missions, there have been more pilots going up because they're training the 3rd generation pilots to become future commanders. But usually you would have you would have a pilot, you would have a flight engineer, which takes care of the spacecraft, the engineering aspect of it. Wang Haoze, she used to be a designer for new concept spacecraft. So she really knows the ins and outs of how things work, and it's very useful to have, especially when you have to have unexpected situation, unexpected improvement, or improvement you want to make, to have somebody who knows how the station you work in actually works. And then the 3rd one is usually a payload specialist who's there to do nothing to do with the flying. It's more to do with science experiments. In the future, that might become a scientist, even from different countries. So it's the significance of this is it's gradually transitioning towards a more sort of regular, different roles, multi-role crew.
Right, and as gentlemen, as we're talking about this, we're watching live footage on your left hand of the screen is live footage coming outside the Shenzhou 19 spacecraft on its way going back to Earth. And now you're watching it full screen now. Professor Yang, tell us more about the scientific and technological experiments conducted by the Shenzhou 19 crew this time. Earlier, before our chit-chat ahead of this live broadcast, you particularly mentioned experimenting condensed physics.
Exactly. You know that condensed physics, including the devices and also the instrument for this study, and also the quantum science, is very, very important, but also very, very challenging if we conduct this kind of experiment in outer space. So you know that the temperature we achieved in this ultra-cold physics can reach to about several pico-Kelvin. So this is a very high parameter for this kind of experiments in study. You know that just in the previous video, we see the camera, we see the video stream from the inside the cabin of the Rientro capsule. You know that this time we will bring back more than 100 samples from this whole Shenzhou 19 mission. So these samples, some are derived from the space medicine experiment, some from the space biology experiment, also some from the the space physics. So you know that in the future, as Professor Zhang already mentioned, we will have what we call a Chinese version of Hubble Space Telescope. So the advantage is that, not like the Hubble Space Telescope, you know that the Hubble Telescope orbiting the Earth in a different orbit comparing with the International Space Station. So the International Space Station can do nothing to conduct the maintenance of the Hubble Space Telescope. So with the retirement of the space shuttle, so the United States cannot conduct any maintenance and repair of the Hubble Space Telescope. But you know that the Xuntian module in the future, or the Chinese Hubble Space Telescope will orbit the Earth with the same orbit of the Tiangong station. So it's very easy, and also with low cost, we can conduct any repair, upgrades, and also maintenance of and refueling of our Xuntian module. And moreover, you know that although the diameter of the mirror, the main mirror, is only 2 meters, very similar to Hubble, but the field of view is 100 times larger than the Hubble Space Telescope. So it can have more information than the Hubble Space Telescope. So this is the advantage of our future scientific research. Also, as you have already mentioned, look at this video on the right. You can see that the Miss Wang Haoze just sit the most close one to the camera. And we are very proud because you know that I am from the industry. Also, Ms. Wang Haoze is a designer of new rocket engines. So she has very comprehensive knowledge, not only in the design of a rocket, but also conducting all these kind of very complex scientific research.
Right, and they're still waiting. I think the spacecraft is now still waiting for the next stage, crucial step.
Yes,
of their re-entry. Just to make sure with you, Professor Yang, they're not re-entering the atmosphere.
Not now.
They're still waiting for the right moment and several key technological steps to...
They are still outside the atmosphere. At this moment, still the propulsion module is connected to the re-entry capsule. At the altitude about 145 kilometers, I believe within 1 or 2 minutes, we will conduct the separation between the re-entry capsule and the propulsion module. So this, as you mentioned, this is another critical step because you know that the Shenzhou spaceship conduct the 3-module design. So the only the re-entry capsule will be recovered. So the propulsion module will be jettisoned several seconds later. Right. I believe within half a minute.
Yes, and now we're watching live footage from the landing site. This is kind of a bird's view, highly likely from the helicopter.
Yes.
And the ground team is on their way to the projected landing site, waiting for the return.
Okay.
Now we've got the confirmation, right?
Exactly.
Yes, Professor.
So we heard from the ground commander that the propulsion module has successfully separated from the re-entry capsule. You know that if it is recovered at night, like the coverage we conducted before, you know that because we only have the heat protection on the re-entry capsule, so the propulsion module will come into pieces. And usually, you know that in the live coverage before, we can witness that for the re-entry capsule, we can see a very bright spot. But you can see that there is a very beautiful trail just behind the spot. So
and talking about landing at night, Professor Zhang, how challenging is that? Because in daylight time, of course, you're talking about visual and things like that. It's easy to understand. But what about nighttime?
Nighttime, mostly it's the temperature that really that was the most.
Makes no difference to the whole monitoring process.
Not really too much difference, I would say. You know, the temperature, the helicopter, you need to turn it on every hour or so to make sure it turns out right. And then I guess they need some visual for flying and driving on the ground, you know, through shrapnel. It's off-roading, they don't have road. So that bit is a bit challenging. But otherwise, for the re-entry maneuvers, it doesn't make too much of a difference.
Right. So as we just heard from the command and control center, the re-entry capsule has separated from the propulsion module. So is it fair to say that they're almost to re-enter the
Yes,
atmosphere?
exactly. So I believe that within several minutes, they will touch the roof of the atmosphere. They will enter the blackout area very soon. You know that at this moment, usually we will have a second prediction of its trajectory, because you know that the separation itself will have some disturbance to the trajectory and also influence the coordinate of the landing point. So usually at this moment, the ground control will announce the second prediction of its trajectory. We heard the voice from the ground control. And as you mentioned, this is a video from the helicopter in the landing zone area. This time, as your colleague already mentioned, it's a little bit different. Still, the ground control is announcing the information to everyone. And you know that the eastern part of the landing site of the Dongfeng landing zone is a little bit different from the usual ones. Usually, we conduct our recovery procedure in the western part of the Dongfeng landing site. Okay, our ground station has already captured our target, the re-entry capsule.
Yeah, but Professor Hao, because it's still not in the re-entry stage.
Right, it's still outside of atmosphere. So by identifying the target, of course, that means the return capsule. And now I believe command and control are
announcing the coordinates.
Yeah, confirming the landing site coordinates.
Exactly. I just heard that, you know, that's this prediction. We have this is the second prediction of the landing coordinate, and you may notice that the longitude is 101 degree. You know that during the previous recovery of our Shenzhou spaceship, usually the coordinate of the landing point about 100 degree. So this time is 101 degree. You know, for 1 degree is a little bit different to the eastern part of the landing site. You know, that's one thing we should consider is that the terrain in the eastern part of the Dongfeng landing zone is quite different from the western part. The western part is relatively flat. But in the eastern part, the terrain, the shape is more complex than the western part. But you know, we don't have other choices, because you know that every day, if we want to have the return, the landing point will be different from the previous day. Because you know that the basic...
now we actually see visual from
yes,
from the ground.
This is an infrared video image from the ground station. We can see the bright spot is a re-entry capsule. We can see the long trail is, as Professor Zhang has already mentioned, is the plasma produced by the high temperature.
So is this in atmosphere now, the return capsule?
It's already in the atmosphere.
Yeah, because we can see the long trail now,
area.
right? Yeah. Oh, the capsule is in the blackout zone. So for this stage, we cannot see live feed out from the capsule itself.
Well, we wouldn't see the videos even after the separation, because the antenna is on the service module. Right. But now even the radio is cut off.
Look, you can see that just
the bigger, brighter
is the beautiful view is the debris of the propulsion module, because it do not have a heat protection. So it will break into pieces with a
burnt out
in the atmosphere. Burn out. So this is like a meteor shower. So it's very beautiful.
Yeah, quite an exciting moment. So this footage is from a ground observation, right?
Yes.
Okay. So what's the standard time calculation for the blackout period?
Oh, we just heard the voice. One ground station has already captured our Shenzhou spaceship. So usually from the orbit burn to the landing, usually we conduct to about 40 to 50 minutes. So it is a very long journey, usually more than 10,000 kilometers. You know that because usually for our Shenzhou spaceship, the normal return, we call this semi-ballistic or the semi-lift re-entry, because the symmetrical axis of the capsule, you know, the capsule is like a bell, so it has a symmetrical axis. Usually, it's have a deviation of the center of its mass from the symmetrical axis. So during the re-entry, there is an angle between its flight direction and the axis. So we will have some lift. With the control of the attitude of the re-entry capsule, we can control the the direction of the lift, and then adjust the landing point. So it is a controlled one, and we can, although that there are some deviations, but we can control with the control to close as possible to the theoretical landing point.
Indeed, and we're getting closer and closer to the landing of the Shenzhou 19 spacecraft. And for more on that, let's cross live to our reporter Li Shuang, standing by at the Beijing Aerospace Command and Control Center. Li Shuang, bring us up to date.
Well, hello again, Pan Dong. As we anticipate for the final landing of the Shenzhou 19 capsule, the responsiveness of the Beijing Aerospace Control Center is on full display. Earlier, we heard that multiple stations across China have spotted the capsule, and we also heard the captain of the Shenzhou 19 crew reporting back to the control center saying that their condition is stable. Now, that is obviously a very good news. What we're about to witness is the capsule re-entering the Earth's atmosphere, and as well as the aerial braking kicking in at about 10 kilometers, and also the deployment of the main parachute. Now, like I mentioned earlier, for the first time, the capsule will be landing in the eastern zone of the Dongfeng landing site. That obviously presents new terrain as well as new challenges, but the teams across the mission, from the engineers here at the Beijing Aerospace Control Center to the search and rescue teams out on the front, they're all working closely together to ensure that everything is ready. They've also run full rehearsal and deployed air and ground recovery team. They've also adjusted the plan with precision. Now, we learned from the final rehearsal that within minutes of receiving simulated coordinates from the Beijing Control Center, a helicopter swooped in to secure the landing area, and also nearly 100 vehicles, including command trucks as well as search and rescue units, also were deployed across multiple routes. Now, that is obviously something we're expecting to see shortly. What we're also expecting to see upon the landing is the ground teams opening the capsule and helping taikonauts out and swiftly transferring them for medical checks. Now, currently we're hearing a lot of real-time commands and receiving. We're seeing that the Beijing Aerospace Control Center is sending out real-time commands and receiving information from different stations. And now we'll be standing by here and closely following the descent of the capsule and bring you up to date. Back to you, Pan Dong.
Thank you very much. Our reporter Li Shuang in Beijing Aerospace Command and Control Center. So, gentlemen, let's talk more about this. I think we're still waiting for the return capsule to go through the blackout zone. Right. And after that, is it a step of opening the parachute, Professor Zhao?
Right, that will happen at around 10 kilometers above ground. So once they come out of the blackout zone, the intense deceleration will bring them down to like speed of an aircraft. That's still too fast to hit the ground with. So once the parachute is deployed, that will bring the speed all the way down to like 7 meters per second, which is brisk running. It will hurt. It's survivable, but it's not ideal yet. And then the last step is there's going to be a solid retro booster at the very end, 1 meter above ground, and then that will bring it down all the way down to 2 meters per second, and that will be fairly comfortable to land.
Right, and just several minutes ago, we heard confirmation from the command center saying that the airborne team is already standing by at the projected coordinates, as you just mentioned, 101 longitude, right?
Yeah. Oh, great. We've already seen the deployment of the parachute. Look the beautiful view. So the main parachute has already been deployed. At this moment, it's already below, the altitude is below 10 kilometers.
10 kilometers, right.
So at this moment, we can say that the astronaut is already safe enough.
Yeah, and that, I guess that's partially why now this spot is looking much bigger compared to earlier stages.
What you see is not the capsule itself.
It's a huge parachute.
So the total area of the main parachute is more than 1,200 square meters. So you can how big it is. Bigger than the basketball field.
So I guess that's totally designed to the payload of the capsule itself, right?
Exactly. So at this moment, so that's what we mentioned about when we talk about the wind. That on yesterday, because there are very strong winds, so there will be very serious influence of the wind to the trajectory, especially after the deployment of the main parachute.
Now, I think they've just disconnected the main parachute, right? And opening another parachute?
Sorry, I made a mistake. So that's the drag chute. So this is the main parachute.
Oh, this is the main parachute.
Exactly.
Okay, now obviously we can see this is optical. This is not infrared. So I believe if we are on the ground, with the sky is clear and we can see that with our naked eye, right?
Exactly. So this is a view, I believe this is a big camera, but also as you mentioned, we can witness of the whole parachute and the Rienttra capsule with your naked eye.
Yes, and as it entails on the upper right corner of your screen, it says it's the optical signal.
So visible the camera in the visible light band. And also, as we have just heard from the ground control, for the third time, they have the prediction of the coordinate of the predicted landing point.
You have to be precise and have to adjust everything in real time so you can get there on time,
mentioned,
on place.
The prediction will be conducted 4 to 5 times to help the ground rescue team to get to the real landing site as soon as possible.
Right. Yeah, talking about size of this main parachute, you can see how big it is because
1,200.
Yeah, you would imagine a capsule is big enough because at least it has to hold 3 tachonauts and their necessary equipment.
Yes, exactly. So you know that the total mass of the re-entry capsule is more than 3 tons, a big one. Although you look, it's very small, like bell. But still, for this re-entry capsule, we need a very big parachute because we use a single parachute. For the next generation, we call the next generation our spaceship, we will use multiple parachute because it will be connected for the lunar missions. So the re-entry capsule is much bigger than our Shenzhou spaceship. So today, even
I'm talking about payload. Sorry, Professor. I'm talking about payload. Professor Zhang, earlier, of course, before the re-entry, we saw the disconnection of the propulsion module of the spacecraft itself. But talking about this return capsule we're looking at right now, talking about its payload, it still has some propulsion module or segments designed onto it, right?
It's for adjusting its aptitude, its orientation and stuff like that. And then also the last sort of retro. They're really
to cushion
simple stuff.
The impact, right?
Yeah, they're not very powerful.
Nothing major, but got some.
Right, and they have few, and which is why soon-ish you will see them dumping the residual fuel because it's toxic. You don't want that to spill.
Yeah, it's about to land. As we just heard from
Professor Zhang mentioned, is called a monopropulsion system. It uses hydrazine as a propellant. So the hydrazine is toxic. So before the landing, we must really, you will see a white fog maybe several seconds later.
So that it's about to land because we just heard
all of the propellants outside. No, this is heating shield, the main heating shield. We just jettison the main heating shield because we, as Professor Zhang has already mentioned, we need solid 4 rocket motors to continuously slow down vehicle when touchdown.
Now the heat shield is gone, right? So that signals the landing is quite imminent.
Exactly. So to expose the 4 rocket motors. And you know that even with this huge parachute, it's still too fast when touchdown. So that is the reason why we need 4 retro rocket. When the distance between the vehicle and the Earth is about 1 meter, we will ignite the 4 rocket engines, and the speed of the vehicle will slow down to slower than 2 meters per second.
So the control could be that precise, just 1 meter above, with this 3-ton payload, just when it's only 1 meter, and the ignition will happen.
The ignition very good question. Very professional. You know that just on the bottom of our reentry capsule, we have one device called gamma ray altimeter. So it will emit gamma ray to the ground, and with reflection, it have a receiver to measure the time. So we can have a very precise measurement of the distance between the bottom and the ground. So it will send signals to ignite the 4 rocket engines and will slow down the vehicle to, as mentioned, less than 2 meters per second.
Right, and that's automatic?
Yeah, this is completely automatic. And you know that after landing...
No, we're actually doing the altitude countdown right now, 4,000 and still decreasing.
So this is a parameter sent by the Shenzhou spacecraft to our ground center. So you can see the very precise measurement of the distance between the bottom of the reentry capsule and the ground.
And you can, from the countdown, you can see that the descent is really, really fast.
And you may notice that
we've got to zoom in on the capsule.
We will deploy another rope, and the attitude of the capsule will be changed a little bit from a lean one to a vertical one. So this is also to help the touchdown.
Sorry, is this in vertical mode right now? Because it looks straight up with the parachute on.
Yeah, so the parachute, the parachute bay is actually off an angle, which is why initially it was tilting a little bit. As Professor Yang was just mentioning, they have another rope to pull it up. So
now that's the discharge of the
propellants,
fuel,
hydrogen.
Yeah.
Because it's
for safety precaution.
It's toxic, but it's necessary. You see that, as I mentioned, it is a controlled reentry. So, as Professor Zhang mentioned, we can control the attitude of the capsule during the reentry. This is the function of the propulsion module, propulsion system on board the reentry capsule, but only change the direction in the roll direction. To change the direction of the lift. With the change of the lift, we can change the trajectory to the landing point.
So it's not falling through atmosphere; it's flying through it.
Flying, yes.
And the engine is basically as like the aircraft wings changing the flipping up and down.
Right.
It's doing that function.
Right, but so I believe for a high-stake mission like this, so a free fall is totally out of option, right?
Only in emergency it can happen if they need to get down really quick.
Yeah, hope that never happens.
It's designed to survive that, but it's survive and being comfortable with it.
Yes. That's what we call the redundancy design, right?
Exactly.
You always have backup.
For manned spaceflight, it's necessary and reasonable to have sufficient redundancy measures. You know that always we think the life and the safety of our astronauts comes first. So although you know that it need more resources, the mass, the volume, but very, very necessary. For this one, we have a backup parachute.
Indeed.
But you know that for the next generation, we will use, because we will use multiple parachutes. So each of the parachutes can recognize as a backup and redundancy of each other. So it will be necessary in the future to master.
And even with those automation process you just mentioned, we can still do a manual override, right?
We have manual operations. We have the buttons inside the cabin. In emergency case, the astronauts can do these kind of things. So that is the reason the training is very, very necessary. You know that during an emergency escape, we will conduct the re-entry in what we call the ballistic re-entry. So the G-forces can be 8 times greater than their own mass. Even as
impossible for common people like
as you mentioned, they must have the ability to do the right choice and press the button.
With that kind of gravity. And no mentioning the pressure.
Exactly.
Remember, they've been in zero gravity of 6 months.
So
it feels double hard.
Exactly.
Unimaginable. Now we can see the descending is going on very fast. And earlier, I think we saw footage from the ground team, from the ground vehicles. They're also heading to the landing point.
So we can have a very clear view of the parachute and together with the
because it's getting closer and closer, right?
Closer.
You don't need to zoom like 100 times to take a closer look.
So very beautiful. And you may notice, the background is a blue sky. Extremely beautiful.
Lovely weather, huh?
So it's very, very clear. And today the weather is much better than yesterday.
Now it's only less than 2,000 meters from the ground.
Correct. And so it is a reasonable choice to conduct the landing today better than yesterday.
Oh, of course. Safety is the utmost concern, right?
It's not even swinging that much, so the wind really died down. But since we're
That's
in Beijing,
absolutely good news, right?
yeah. Since we're in Beijing, we kind of understand weather's changed that quickly. But for our foreign,
Just from the previous video, you may notice that Mr. Song Lingdong is sitting just on the right side of the command Cai Xuzhe, and it is, you know, that Mr. Song Lingdong is called 02, and it is duty of 02 to cut the rope of the parachute when land. So if it is just in the right moment, the advantage is that the capsule will stand there vertically. It will be very convenient for the astronaut. But you can seldom see this scenario because you know that only during the Shenzhou 6 mission and during the Shenzhou 30 mission, the moment they cut down the rope is the right moment and they stand there vertically. But for other missions, they just the capsule lie down
to a particular angle.
Yeah.
But that's the common scenario, right?
This is a common situation.
Standing upright is kind of exception.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But that's more convenient for the astronaut.
Yes, of course. Yes, of course. Maybe, you know, taikonauts will feel much better,
Much better.
when
yeah,
you know, the
it's
capsule
center of
stands.
gravity is skewed
Yeah.
anyways, so it's not. It doesn't tend
So
to.
this is also the reason why we need the assistance of the ground team, especially the medics, to help the astronauts to have the what we call the readaptation of gravity as soon as possible.
Yes, yes. And the whole, you know, the full recovery of your sense to ground gravity would take even much longer, right?
Yeah. At this moment, also there is another critical step to just raise the seats of the 3 astronauts, because you know that to absorb the energy of the
Oh,
impact.
since you mentioned this, I must ask. Earlier you said it's the number 2 to cut the rope of the parachute. When you say cut the rope, you mean pressing a button or actually doing some standard maneuvers in that capsule to do that?
Well, you know that as we discussed, the wind is very, very dangerous for the whole landing procedure. And not only during the descending procedure, but also you know that after touchdown, the wind can be a big problem. So it can drag the whole capsule to a different place. So if it is in the mountain, it will be very, very dangerous. So it is necessary to
cut the rope.
Cut the rope.
You mean pressing a button to,
Yes.
to do the thing, or actually you
the
have to do
problem
standard
is,
maneuver?
you know, that as I mentioned, the seats will be raised to absorb the impact energy. So the position of the button will be different when the seats are raised. So this is a difficulty and a challenge for 02 to conduct this operation. It will touch down soon.
Yeah, very soon. It's only about 500 meters above the ground.
It is just pushing the button. It's not going to go out there. And
No,
cut the button.
no.
But there,
Impossible.
If it didn't manage to do that, somebody would jump off the helicopter and actually do that, cutting off.
yes.
At this right moment, the velocity of the capsule is usually less than 10 meters per second, but still too fast for the astronaut for the touchdown. So the retro rocket,
they've just adjusted the coordinates of the specific landing position.
They're just announcing, I mean, this is the fourth prediction.
And I believe the calculation is in real time, right?
Yeah, exactly. So the ground team, the whole ground team will be guided by this prediction.
This is totally within approach if you're standing on the ground, right? Really, really close. Wow. That's descending really far.
So the retro rocket will ignite soon.
So this is optical, right?
Yes, this is
from the helicopter.
From the helicopter.
Right.
Yeah, it's already above the reentry capsule.
Yeah. Yeah, since you mentioned earlier, the terrain looks indeed a little bit different from the common, to the common landing site we've known.
Yeah. So it's more close to the Badan Jilin Desert in my homeland in Mongolia.
Oh, it's about to land.
Yeah. Oh, we can see the shadow.
Yeah. So cut the rope.
Ignition.
Oh.
Great.
Let's see if it's.
Parachute is cut.
Now, the Shenzhou 19 return capsule has landed in Dongfeng landing site in northern China's in the Mongolia region again. This just happened. The Shenzhou 19 crew has returned to Earth. 3 taikonauts are now on the ground in northern China's in the Mongolia region. So far, this has been a successful landing, right,
as you
gentlemen?
mentioned, as we already discussed, you may notice the rope connecting to the parachute has already been cut down.
Yeah.
So this is a very successful touchdown.
Yeah, and we can see the ground team is rushing their way to this specific landing spot.
Yes.
Yeah. But the aerial team is already standing by, right? We've seen aerial footage from the helicopter.
With this video, we can prove that the helicopter is very, very close to the capsule.
Yeah. And we captured, the last several stages of the landing.
Oh, this time still it's not a vertical van.
Yeah. But this is the common scenario,
it's the
right?
common.
Yeah, it's the common scenario. Yeah.
I believe the 3 astronauts are in good status. Oh, we can also see the shadow of the helicopter.
Yeah. And we got
already.
So we can tell that there's the helicopter. One helicopter has landed.
Yeah. Usually, after the ground team reach the capsule, first they will remove the radiation source of the gamma ray activator because it's hazardous to everyone.
Right.
So we will use a container made by lead and to protect the blockade radiation.
Yeah, and having said that, another helicopter has landed. So we can say that at least the 3 helicopters are on site, right? One has landed, another one is about to land.
There will be 5.
There will be 5. There will be 5.
Commanding office, helicopter would be the one flying and showing off pictures.
Yes, another helicopter.
There are more than one helicopter has already landed. That's in the previous missions we usually have 4 helicopters, but this time we have an additional one. So the one helicopter will act as a commander, and it will have medics in the helicopter to help the astronauts at the first moment. Also, we have.
So the first responders, let me make this clear. The first responders are from the aerial team, and a much larger team is coming from the ground team.
Right. Usually they're from different systems.
Right.
Some from the Shenzhou spaceship system, and some from the astronaut system. You know that all the medics belongs to the astronaut system because they will looking after our astronauts after landing to ensure that they are in good status. And also the Shenzhou, those rescue team from the Shenzhou spaceship system will looking after the capsule.
And ground team is still on the way. I think they're getting really, really close now.
Right.
Yes.
And the weather is really, really good. That you can also you can even see the shades of huge clouds on the sky.
Yes. The cloud is very, very low and very close to the ground.
Yeah. Oh, I can see. Another.
Because you know that the average altitude of this landing zone is about 1,000 meters. So it's in the highland, and usually you know that although it's already April, but very cool comparing with the weather in Beijing. So that is the reason why we, although it is windy and sometimes even have sunstorms in April, but it is reasonable to have the landing conducted in April. Because you know that for the next school, if we choose to May or June, of course the weather will be a bit better. But for the second team, for the next team, they will have to land on November or December. So that will be extremely cold. So,
but that's a test, isn't it? Because for systematic design like this.
Exactly.
Yeah, the aerial team has landed and they're conducting initial preparations, right?
So another helicopter landed in the Gobi Desert.
So at least 4 helicopters have landed. Craft. 3 taikonauts have landed. Now ground crew, as a studio guest just mentioned, are doing some technical checks before they open the hatch and meet the 3 taikonauts personally. I believe that's the national flag.
Although the bell-like Rientro capsule is the total mass is more than 3
Now we can see the Chinese national flag is flying right next to the return capsule.
And also,
this is a moment of pride for
all
our
of
whole
us.
nation. Yeah.
Yeah. And you may
First
notice
of all,
also that still has some wind.
it's really a pleasure, and we're really happy to see the safe return of the 3 taikonauts. And What do you make of this landing process? Quite smooth, right, Professor Zhang?
It's textbook, and considering it's not a scheduled one, so they have to change the schedule last minute, and then also replot the landing. Also, the wind tends to pick up afternoon, so the landing site choice and the trajectory maneuvers may not have been the optimal in terms of just the astrometry, the flight orbit stuff. You have to pick your time and do something suboptimal in the technical aspect of things, and they still managed everything. Textbook. So it's really good.
Yeah, just to explain something to our global viewers, you can see on your screen on the left-hand side now to the right-hand side footage of your screen. The Chinese national flag is flying on the left, and another red banner on your right-hand side. It says Dongfeng landing site, and this is exactly where the return capsule has landed. The technicians on the ground are still doing initial tests before they open a hatch. If all goes well,
it's open.
Yeah, the hatch has opened. And ground personnel will go in first, right?
The medics from the astronaut system will help the astronauts to get what we call the readaptation of gravity. So this procedure may need several minutes for that, because for different persons there will be different response.
Yeah.
Sometimes that they've already stayed in outer space in microgravity environment for more than half a year.
So impossible to walk, right? At this very moment, right? And it takes a long time.
But theoretically speaking, they must have the ability to work, especially that there be some uncertainty. If they conducted an emergency re-entry, it will be in a different places than this one. So maybe you have to need to wait to 1 or 2 days for the reach of arrival of the rescue team. So in these circumstances, you must have the ability to survive by yourself.
Yeah. But now the hatch has opened, and ground personnel now meeting the 3 tachonauts in the capsule.
So we just heard from the voice of the ground team. They reported the density of the hydrazine is 0. So it's safe enough for the ground team.
Absolutely good news, right? Safe for everyone, to be honest. Yeah.
So this is important, not only to ensure the safety of our astronauts, but also to ensure the safety of our whole ground team.
Indeed, I believe hundreds of people on site right now.
And also, I believe at this right moment, your colleagues from the CMG has also arrived at nearby places to prepare the interview with the astronauts.
Yes, that's part of our job description.
Yeah,
be there.
A traditional step.
Well, look at the terrain, it wouldn't be a nice ride, so they really did sacrifice as well.
But you may notice from the national flag that the wind at this moment is also a little bit strong.
Not exactly mild, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, and this is typical in northern China. If you want to have clear sky, sometimes you got to be windy to get blue sky.
You don't have much more choices.
Yeah, you don't have a perfect balance between a very mild weather, blue sky. And,
but at least this day without any sandstorm.
That's good, right?
Yeah. And so the sky, also the terrain is very clear.
Yeah.
For
this is a very beautiful natural setting. Blue sky, white clouds, with the Chinese national flag flying, and this beautiful return capsule with bringing back 3 tachonauts safe and sound.
Right.
Yes.
And it looks like the wind is gradually picking up, which means the choice of the landing window, really, the weather forecasting team, kudos to them, they really predicted it really well. So they cut really close to the wind picks up.
Exactly. I want to catch up on that because we know weather forecast, it's not exactly a forecast, right? It's just a prediction. It's about probability, right? So it's also a show of technological strength on how accurate, how close you can get your prediction to the actual situation, right?
So this is an achievement of as you mentioned, the whole system.
Exactly.
Not only the spacecraft itself, with the help of the ground team, of the ground stations along the trail, both inside and outside China, and also with our Tianlian data relay satellites, and also especially with the help of our Beidou navigation satellite system, we can have very, very accurate prediction of its trajectory. So this is very necessary support for the rescue team to get to the right landing point, even at the first moment.
Exactly. Finding the right window, get there at the right time, right place.
Right.
Yeah.
And also, that concerning the international cooperation with China, have agreement with many countries to have the deal that in the emergent case, we can land in other countries.
Right.
落点测量完毕，返回舱落点坐标为东经，幺洞1度，动4分，动9秒，东经，幺洞1度，动4分，动9秒，北纬41度，
The ground team has just
5动秒
measured the exact coordinates of
The
this
final
the
one.
landing spot.
Exactly,
Right.
the final one.
Yeah.
You may notice the longitude, as I mentioned, is 101 degrees.
Now it's kind of 4 minutes and 9 seconds.
It's
101 degree for sure.
101 degree.
Yeah.
So it's 1 degree difference comparing with the previous landing procedure.
Okay. A little bit.
So
to
for
the
1
east.
degree
Yeah.
is about 100 kilometers away.
Yeah.
100, actually speaking, more than 100 kilometers away. So this is the reason why we choose the eastern part, because you know that theoretically speaking, every day we have a window to conduct the recovery. But you know that for every day, because the trajectory will be different, the orbital plane of the Tiangong space station will be different comparing with the landing site. So every day we have a possibility to conduct the landing, but every day it will be a little bit different. That this time the Shenzhou 20 crew brought for the second time the zebrafish to the space station, and according to the report of your colleagues, the experiment about the zebrafish has already been conducted on board the Tiangong space station. So I believe that's 20 crew for this very challenging experiment.
Indeed. And talking about future experiments, I believe, Professor Zhang, you're anxiously waiting for that China Space Telescope, huh?
Yes, I am. It's a survey telescope, which means it look at the sky with large angle, so you can catch the flashy things just exploding without having to zoom in and concentrating on the same source for months and months and then to pick up enough signal, which means, well, all the exciting things are temporary in the universe. Explosions, they're more extreme. So catching those things will be quite interesting.
I think it would be easier for the public to understand sending people out in space, because sometimes you can see a direct transfer of those technologies into our daily lives. But tell us, as an astronomer, why we need to look into so deep into the space.
Right. So first of all, it's to get knowledge about how the universe actually works. So a lot of people think technology comes from need. We have a need, we have a desire, and then we make something. That's exactly the opposite of how it happens. If you look at sci-fi novels from the past,
Indeed,
none of that is realized.
And in reality, sorry to interrupt, now they're installing chairs for the 3 taikonauts. So I believe all the tests came out okay, right? Because they're about to move the taikonauts outside the capsule. Yes, Professor Zhang, you were saying.
Right.
Looking into deep space, huh?
Right. So, but actually, what happens is the other way around. You do something research, finding out how things work. Initially, it will look like it doesn't have any practical application, and then after you discover how things work, and then some people will begin to use that knowledge to manipulate things. At this stage, it's applied physics. It may still not be clear what you do with it, and after you can manipulate things a little bit, then engineers comes in and begin to think of things, and especially if you can make money out of it, a lot of people come in, and all of a sudden something just explodes. That's how things actually work, which is why you want to do just looking up into the sky in the first place. And then also this space station has a lot of very practical technology experimentations as well.
Right. So sometimes, or most of the times, we really need to look beyond the horizon as we know it from our childhood, and to trying to look beyond it and find something out of our imagination.
Usually, that to talk about the scientific research, usually there are two categories. One for pure scientific goal purely, and the other is for engineering purposes. For the engineering study on board the Tiangong space station, it will be not only very helpful to our daily life and for the production of as you mentioned, the material and also other things on the ground, but also very helpful for the aerospace field itself. That as Mr. Yang Liwei, our space hero, has already mentioned, because she's the deputy chief designer of China Manned Space Program. So everybody going to the moon in the future in our China's lunar program, they will first stay at least half a year on board the Tiangong space station. So you can see that our Tiangong space station is not only the national laboratory for scientific research, but also a very ideal training bay for our astronauts. During the construction phase of our Tiangong space station, just during the Shenzhou 14 mission, the Tiangong space station formed the T shape with the coming of the Wentian and the Mengtian module. Right. Also, that Mr. Cai Shizhe conducted 2 EVA during the Shenzhou 14 mission, and
that was extraordinary, right?
Extraordinary. That also Mr. Cai Shizhe. What impressed me most that he's very brave. You know that during one EVA during the Shenzhou 40 mission, he and Mr. Chen Dong, the commander, have a simulation of the what we call a rescue during EVA. You know that for any EVA partners, they must hold the handrail at any moment to ensure their own safety. But for this simulation, only a belt connected Mr. Cai Shizhe and Mr. Chen Dong, and Mr. Cai Shizhe acts as the one simulated to be rescued. And he do not hold anything.
He just let go the handrail.
Yeah. So he's so brave that and full of confidence and full of trust to his colleague. So that impressed me most during the Shenzhou 14 mission. And this time he is the commander of the Shenzhou 19 crew. Also, the several days before, the 6th crew of the Shenzhou 19 and Shenzhou 20 meet together. Also, that both Commander Chen Dong and Commander Cai Shizhe belongs to the Shenzhou 14 crew.
Right.
They meet again
right.
in space.
And he recovers really fast. So he's 14 and 19. It's 5 missions apart, so it's half a year each. So he's back on there in 2.5 years, something like that. Usually takes 3-4 years, a bit longer than this.
So that also partially tells his physical strength.
His physical is fit.
Yeah. And we can see one chair for one taikonaut is ready. According to usual routine, it's the captain coming out of the hatch first.
Because he sits in the middle. You can see how small and how narrow it is. Although it is the total mass is 3 tons, but still
it's
for
a very tight space, just enough to squeeze in 3 taikonauts.
Yeah.
Every gram matters, right?
Yes, and also that not only 3 people inside, but also they wear the IVA spacesuit.
Oh yes.
So very, very narrow space for them. So the commander sit in the middle. So he must come out first.
Yeah. Otherwise, the 2 people sit beside him.
One.
So on the way out, people usually eat
departure
dumplings.
Especially for the people come from North China.
Right. Yes. Right. True. Yeah.
Right.
And now it's the return.
Yeah.
So maybe noodles, huh? We can guess away at this moment, but we'll find answer very soon. And this frame is kind of very symbolic and meaningful, isn't it? Because the Chinese flag is flying high. Actually, the whole nation has been expecting their safe return, the 3 taikonauts.
That yes.
They're the proud of the nation and the heroes we really look up to, right?
Yeah. Of course.
Yeah.
You know that years before, before the Shenzhou 12 mission, we conducted re-entry in Sizhiwang banner, also in Inner Mongolia, but in the eastern 1,000 to the east of this landing site. So today, the advantage to use the Jiuquan Satellite Launch Center as the landing site, the advantage is that you know that for the launch, we also need a rescue team. To, in emergency cases, they will conduct an emergency escape from the launch vehicle. And the advantage is that we can use only one team to prepare for the launch and for the return. So it can save a lot of money. Moreover, you see that with the development of the local economy, the Sizhiwang banner become more populated.
We can see that actually we've just got line communication from tachonauts in the capsule. They all report, you know, good physical condition. They're feeling well. It's the literally
03
translation.
Miss Wang Haoze. She's from her voice, she must be in good status.
Yeah. Very upbeat voice, huh?
Yeah.
Must have been exciting. It's first time up.
Yeah, first time up, and a safe return, right?
And during the
it's feeling good to go back home.
Yeah.
And just imagine during the blackout, it will be like flames all around. There are two windows they can see outside. And it would be quite something to see.
It's the completely flaming situation around you, right?
Right.
And you would imagine the temperatures. It's like what?
2,000, 3,000.
Yeah.
Right.
But still, you know that usually...
I believe one taikonaut is coming out of the capsule. Let's see who...
Commander Cai Xuzhuo.
Who he or she is. Usually it's the captain, huh? But let's be sure. The taikonaut is coming out of the capsule with the help of the ground crew, professional crew. Due to 175 days in space in almost zero gravity environment, the physical conditions of their body still need some time to carry out the adaptation to the gravity situation on the ground. Now you can see Cai Xuzhe, commander of the Shenzhou 19 mission, has just come out of the return capsule, and he looks really well and happily waving to the ground crew at site. This is Mr. Cai Xuzhe, the commander of the Shenzhou 19 mission.
He's really energetic at this moment.
This is a safe return, and the whole nation is...
And congratulations for his second flight.
Yes. That's a big congratulation, right?
And one interesting thing...
And this is a very intense mission as well.
Exactly. And one interesting thing for Mr. Cai Xuzhe is that he, during the interview before, he already expressed his wish to walk on the moon in the future.
Wow.
Welcome home. Two tachonauts born in the 1990s were together with you, and you completed your successful journey. What do you want to share with us? For numerous times in the space, we look back at this blue planet, which is our common homeland for man. We must protect it together, especially in the space station. We could see the stark red color, which is the brightest color in the space. We are so proud of our nation. And for this mission, I took two tachonauts born in the 1990s. We worked as one to complete the tasks given to us by our motherland and the people. And in the future, we will continue such great efforts so that in this new era, China's space undertaking will have a new chapter. Thank you very much.
Now we just heard the immediate remarks from Mr. Cai Xuzhe, commander of the Shenzhou 19 mission, after his safe return to Earth. He said when he was in Tiangong Space Station, he looked over so many times, look at this blue planet, our home planet, and also he feels, you know, this kind of urgency and strong necessity to protect planet, and also he feels so proud of the nation after this mission. And also the journalist also asked him, what does it feel like in charge of the mission when your other two teammates are much younger than you, and I believe both Song Lingdong and Wang Haozhe were born after the 1990s, so quite young. Huh?
Quite young.
Yeah, so this is very, I would say, a generational combination. Yeah. So usually you have a quite experienced and senior commander.
Yes.
You got to bring up the next generation, right?
Yeah. So both Mr. Song Lingdong and Ms. Wang Haozhe belongs to the third batch of our China's taikonauts. So the third batch, including these two members, we already have 10 of them out of the 18 in total have already visited the outer space. So they have very good chances because every year we have 2 missions. So they have been experienced ones, veterans, and next time maybe some of them will also act as the commander of a flight mission.
Yeah, yeah. And looking at this frequency of China's manned space mission, it raises higher demands for more and very well-trained taikonauts in the future, right? And also looking at the variety of the taikonauts themselves.
Yes.
Yeah, some could be pilots, as we just talked about, and we may need more payload specialists and flight engineers in the future as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But also, you know, although we have the specification of pilots, flight engineers, and payload specialists.
And that's the vehicle, the designated vehicle, one for each, as you just mentioned, right?
Yeah, as I mentioned.
Now, another taikonauts is coming out. That's Mr. Song Lingdong. He's also a pilot of the Shenzhou 19 mission.
Yes.
Mr. Song Lingdong has just come out of the return capsule. He is the one of the pilots, one of the 2 pilots of the Shenzhou 19 mission. He's quite young, huh? As we just mentioned, born after the 1990.
Fighter pilot from the Air Force.
As a taikonaut born in the 1990s, and since this is your first mission coming back to our Earth, what are you feeling right now? I feel very proud and happy, and I'm full of hopes for our future. All of the efforts done by the scientists and researchers have been turned into tangible results. That's why I feel so happy and proud. And we completed the exit mission successfully for China to embark on the space journey. I am so happy to come on this journey on behalf of others, and I'm about to see my family that I missed for this long time. And also I will see my comrades who have always stayed with us during this mission. I'm really looking forward to seeing them, and I would love to thank all of them. Thank you for your hard work. And in the future, I will dive into some after work, and I will readjust myself so as to be prepared to contribute my love to my motherland. Thank you.
Now, we've just heard immediate remarks from Mr. Song Lingdong after his safe return from space after 175 days working on the Tiangong space station. He said he feels very proud at this moment, and he now has a lot of expectations to the future. And he also mentioned about the success of this mission, completed many scientific and technological experiments. He feels proud of the nation, and he also said he's very, very happy at this moment because he's on his way to meet his family.
And you know that he also make a record. He is the first spacewalker of China who was born after 1990.
That's a personal and also a national proud.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So young, and you know that
it takes a lot.
It's always challenging for any astronaut.
Indeed, and it takes a lot to reach that step at this age, right? Yeah. Born in the 1990s.
And moreover, you know that for the 3 EVA of the Shenzhou during the Shenzhou 19 mission, it's really challenging to install the protection devices to avoid any collision of the space debris to our space station.
Right.
And also, you know, this kind of there is another amazing thing that you know that we have a malfunction of the one adapter of the.
Oh yes, since you mentioned this, let's talk about that. I believe it was a payload adapter. It was
stuck.
Got stuck. Yeah.
Got stuck when it was loaded outside.
Yeah.
So during one of the EVA, they just fix it. So that's the importance of the existence of human being in space missions.
Yeah.
So although with the AI technology and the automation technology, we can have more functions of the robotics, but still it is very important to have the attendance of human being inside.
Yeah.
So this is a very typical and very good example for show the importance of human being.
Yeah.
So it is very normal. You know that because the scientific research is very complex.
Yeah.
So the stack of the adapter is, I believe that is inevitable because if you have more research works, sometimes we will have this kind of, we do have this kind of malfunction. But with the options of the astronauts, we can fix it.
Yeah, and this is a clear demonstration as well, right, Professor Zhang, of the professional capability of Chinese taikonauts. Because as much as you can practice on the ground, you cannot 100% to exactly copy the situation out of this atmosphere.
Right, especially as Professor Yang just mentioned, there's lots of experiments designed by lots of different people, designing things in lots of different ways and with different level of expertise in making things robust. So you just have to be flexible, be able to learn things and be able to stay calm. And it's a whole host of qualities that you have to possess to become a successful astronaut. And in fact, the Shenzhou 19 mission, they did some tests on the astronauts' ability to handle precision movements with their hands and stuff, and handle unexpected stressful situations, see if being in space actually make them lose that capability. So all of that is a gradual learning process for the whole program as well.
And one technicality is you have to hold tools and handling those precision tests and tasks with, you know, the whole space suits on with those huge gloves, right?
Right. The analogy is you're sitting inside of a fully inflated tire.
Right.
And then you move. The tire doesn't necessarily move with you. So.
Yeah, takes a lot. And I believe the third taikonaut, Ms. Wang Haoze, is about to exit the capsule.
Ms. Wang Haoze is the third female astronaut of China and the only one in the third batch of our astronaut team. And what pride me most is that, you know, that like me, he's also an engineer from the space industry.
Right.
Actually speaking, she is a system designer of new rocket engines.
New rocket engines.
New rocket engines.
Right.
So she was working in an institute in Beijing to study the preliminary study of the advanced rocket engines. So she has very comprehensive because she's a system designer. For a system designer, she must know everything. So her very comprehensive knowledge must help her in conducting the scientific research. As commented by Mr. Cai Fizhe and Sun Longdong, she is very perfect on every theory.
Having said that, taikonaut Ms. Wang Haoze has exited the capsule, the return capsule of Shenzhou 19. She is the flight engineer of the Shenzhou 19 mission. And as Professor Yang just mentioned, she's the third female Chinese taikonaut to go into the space. And she was also born in the 1990s.
Hello, Wang Haoze. As the first woman taikonaut to take on this mission and also a young person born in the 1990s, what do you want to say to us? I feel so good coming back home. And also to feel the solid ground feels good. And now I am finally coming back to our land in the motherland. And I do want to say that my motherland, your sons and daughters who have gone very far are coming back. And in the last 180 days flying in the space, it was an arduous task, but I trained myself. And through this mission, I could be confident enough to report to my motherland and our people that I am capable of taking on more challenging tasks in the future. And please be reassured. During my stay in the space station, whenever I look out of the window into the space, I felt firm that the Chinese technonauts would only go further and further, and we will certainly embark on the deeper space. And finally, I give my best wishes to China's aerospace business. I hope we could fly further and further, and also I hope my motherland could be prosperous in the future. Thank you.
Now we just heard immediate remarks from taikonaut Ms. Wang Haoze, the first female flight engineer from China to enter into China's Tiangong space station. She said it feels so great to return home, and he has reassured the nation and the people that she has fulfilled her tasks in space with her teammates, and she strongly believes that Chinese taikonauts will keep going forward to reach more and more missions and tasks. And she also sent best wishes to the nation. She's quite upbeat.
You may notice on the seats there is a logo ACC,
yes.
Means Astronaut Center of China.
Okay, right. Now, for more on this, let's cross live to our reporter Li Shuang, standing by at Beijing Aerospace Command and Control Center. So, Li Shuang, we can see that 3 taikonauts have returned to Earth safe and sound. Tell us more from the command center.
Well, yes, Pandong, we just saw the 3 Chinese taikonauts made their way out of the capsule, and their conditions seem stable. And it was followed by multiple rounds of applause from behind me here at the Beijing Aerospace Control Center for the engineers here who have been working tirelessly to bringing the taikonauts home. It came as a great relief. We heard from the 3 taikonauts. They all said that they are really proud of the country and have promised to continue to dedicate to the long-term development of the China's space program. Now, from the moment the spacecraft adjusted its orientation for the first time in space to the final touchdown, the whole process is carefully and beautifully choreographed. And China's space program has delivered again, despite the postponement of the landing and despite the changing of the landing area. Now, that really says a lot about China's space flight capabilities, as well as the seamless coordination across various teams. Now, speaking of the 3 taikonauts, they sounded really exciting. They sounded really excited having made their way back home. And they have also, during their stay up in the space station, they have
dark we rise and soar, guided by the dreams we wore. From the oceans to the skies, endless fire burns in our eyes. Beyond the stars we chase the light, with fearless hearts through endless nights. No frontier can hold us down, the universe is our playground. Mountains high and oceans deep, secrets in the void we keep. Every step a tale to weave, for those who dare, who still believe. Beyond the stars we chase the light, with fearless hearts through endless night. No frontier can hold us down, the universe is our playground. Is our playground. Mountains high and oceans deep, secrets in the void we keep. Every step a tale to weave, for those who dare, who still believe. Beyond the stars we chase the light, with fearless hearts through endless night. No frontier can hold us down, the universe is our playground. Echoes call from far away, guiding ships through cosmic sway. With every launch a new sunrise, the quest for knowledge never dies. Beyond the stars we claim the skies, bound by hope that never dies. To worlds unknown we'll make our mark, lighting flames within the dark.
Three, two, one.